Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The sound of the dholak caught her attention as the little princess peeped down from the palace balcony to see what is that. Filled with curiosity and wonder, she started questioning her mum. What is that? Where are they going? Why are they dancing? Her mother, busy and preoccupied, glanced down and said, "That's a Bharat." But of course this wouldn't satisfy an excited young girl, and so she wanted to know so much more. Slowly answers were revealed. The groom is the one sitting on the horse, and he's going to the marriage, and yes, everyone gets married, and yes, Mira, you will get married, and yes, you will have a groom come to you. But then, now, the most exciting and important question of all, who will be my groom? Who will be my special someone who will look after me and be with me for all of time? The mother tried to evade the answer, for how would we know? Until finally, when there was just no letting go of Mira's persistence, her mother dragged her into the mandir room, looked at the murti of Sri Krishna and said, He will be your dulla. He will be your groom. He will be the one that's with you for always. Mira's heart in that moment must have sighed in relief, or maybe danced in joy, or possibly in the depth of her soul she recognized this to be the truth. Krishna truly is her special someone, who she would be for, who she would be with forever. Many people say that Mirabai was a gopi in her last life, and that is why she had this beautiful single-pointed love for Sri Krishna. We can't know for sure, but it is true that whatever we do in our previous lives, or even in the past in this life, helps to create who we are in this moment of time. And with the single-pointed devotion that Mirabai had, and with the depth of her faith and the intensity of her longing, certainly, potentially many lifetimes, she lived, worshipping, loving, serving the divine, to bring her to this point in time where at such a young, tender age, she was already surrounded by satsang, Santa Mahatma, and the recognition that Krishna was the only one for her. Exactly what it was in her past life, we don't know. But we do know that whatever happens in the past can influence the present. And so for us, maybe we don't have that much devotion, but we can start introducing it into our lives now so that it can grow and become stronger until finally it becomes as single-pointed as Mirabai's does, even if it takes more than this lifetime. If we already have devotion and it's not quite the Mirabai type, then all we have to do is continue working at creating that intensity of longing in our heart, that depth of faith in our being. And with time, as Mirabai shows us, we too will know that only Krishna is the one for us to hold on to. This particular murti that was pointed out to her by her mother also has a beautiful story to it. Again, a very young Mirabai, at maybe around the age of 4 or 5, was taken to visit a Santa Mahatma by her grandfather, who was the one who introduced her to a lot of her spirituality. Seeing this particular murti of Sri Krishna, she was enamored by it and longed to have it as her own, and even went up and said, "Can I take it?" The Santa was slightly taken aback because this is the murti that he worshipped every day and he didn't want to part with it either, and so said, no, this is mine. I'm sure you'll find one just as beautiful for yourself. But that night, in a dream, Sri Krishna appeared to the Santa, telling him to give the murti to the young princess. How beautiful. In the Gita, Sri Krishna promises us that he will look after yoga and kshemam. He will look after all our needs, all the necessities that we have, all the things we have to acquire and the things we possess. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham will be taken care of. But he does more than just needs. He fulfills even our desires. This little girl wanted that form, and that is what she got. And it was not given to her in vain, for Mirabai held on to that murti wherever she went. Even when she was in the palace, she sang to Krishna and she danced for Krishna. It is believed she danced with so much joy until she herself had no energy left and practically collapsed with exhaustion. But there was always a smile on her face, for her dancing was for her beloved, and that filled her heart with joy. Love always fills our heart with joy. When time did come for Princess Mira to get married, she couldn't accept anyone other than her Krishna to be her husband. But once again, Bhagwan always looks after the devotee, and her husband was fairly understanding. However, he didn't live much longer. It's believed he died in battle. And then her brother-in-law was somewhat of a challenge in her life. Externally, at least, there were circumstances that were challenging. The exact details we do not know. Of course, Mirabai was a historical figure, and there are some details, but through the process of Chinese whispers, some things seem to have been altered, and there isn't consistency in the reports that come back to us. But this much we know, that the Rana at that time, her brother-in-law, was disturbed by all these rumors that Mirabai had a lover, for she would sing and praise him. Who she was singing and praising was Sri Krishna. Was it done deliberately, not deliberately, calculatingly? All these details, like I said, we're not so clear on. But also rumors about how she would go off with the saints and sages, and she didn't carry herself like a dignified princess, and she was bringing shame to the family. Whether her brother-in-law believed all of them, whether he believed in the Lord, whether he wanted to help her or didn't want to help her, circumstances, at one point he did get very angry by the situation, that she wasn't someone he could control. And so it is said that he tried to destroy her. He sent her a snake in the pretense of a garland. Some say it actually turned into a garland. She was also sent poison to drink to end her life. Maybe she chose not to take the poison, recognizing what it was. Maybe she was saved from it. Or maybe, as some of the stories say, Krishna turned the poison into nectar so it wouldn't hurt her. But she stands out as someone who is fearless, who is willing to face what came to her without compromising on what she truly believed in and what she knew to be the truth. Her love for Krishna was the truth, and she was not going to waver from that, even if it cost her her life. It is also believed that a lion was sent to harm her, and in her presence, in her love, in her faith, it was tamed and caused her no harm. Exactly what happened, like I said, we do not know, but this we do know. She was taken care of, whether by her own intelligence, whether by help of others, but it was the grace of Sri Krishna. In the Gita, once again, He has said, "Na me bhakta pranashyati." He will not let his devotee come to harm, definitely not let his beloved perish. And even though there were many attempts, Mirabai lived with a smile on her face for her Krishna and a bounce in her step as she danced for him. But knowing that the people in the palace were not supporting her, she sought advice from Tulsidas Ji, another saint at the time. Her own guru, Raidas, had also guided her on many occasions, but this particular advice from Tulsidas Ji is so well known. She asked what should she do when they asking her to stop her prayers, when they asking her not to sing her beloved's name. And Tulsidas Ji replied, "Do not stay where they cannot understand your love for the divine." He gives the example that Vibhishan forsaked his brother Ravana for Ramchandraji. Bharat left his mother for Ramchandraji. Prahlad turned away from his father for the Lord. But true, she was a princess surrounded by so much beauty and wealth, and she was able to walk away from it. Definitely lots of vairagya. But I think more potently, walking away from the palace wasn't so much about walking away from wealth as it was about the security. I have a roof above my head. I have food that I always available to me when I'm hungry. Leaving home, or for her leaving the palace, was uncertainty. Where would she live? Who would feed her? Who would clothe her? And what if she got sick? These are the things that really scare so many of us. But in a heartbeat, Mirabai left the palace upon hearing the advice of Sant Tulsidas, because her faith was unwavering. Krishna would look after her. Actually, if she didn't have so many clothes, if she didn't have food, she didn't have a roof over her head, it didn't matter, for she had Krishna. And really, that's all that mattered. That's what makes her so incredibly beautiful. That's what makes her so incredibly inspiring. She found a nice home in a Krishna temple in Dwarka and was very soon missed in Rajasthan. It is believed that it was plagued with droughts and disease. It's also believed that when a Santa Mahatma is insulted, the entire community, the entire land suffers. Understanding this, the priest or the well-educated people, the bhaktas of the land of Rajasthan, urged the Rana to bring Mirabai back as a solution to the droughts and the disease. And so she was approached, "Please come back." This is a beautiful instance. Again, Chinese whispers, we don't know exactly what happened. Some say when she was asked to leave, she goes into the sanctum sanctorium of the Krishnamurti to say goodbye, and she never comes out. There was a flash of light, and she disappears. Some say the doors closed, and when they opened again, Mira could not be found, but her sari was wrapped around the Murti. Others say that her hair, her braid, was now attached to the Murti, even though she could not be found. In all versions of the story, it is believed that Mirabai merged into Krishna. Some will say she merged into the actual Murti of Sri Krishna that she loved so dearly. Whether that's physically possible or not, physically acceptable or not, whether people believe that or not, we can definitely believe this. When we love, our hearts unite and merge with the beloved. Mirabai's heart was filled with only love for Sri Krishna. And so how could she not be united with him in whatever form that took? And this is also what makes Mirabai's story so epic. It's the most epic love story. In all epic love stories, there is yearning and pining to be with the beloved. Mirabai definitely had that. As we read her poems and her songs, they filled with so much yearning. In all epic love stories, they find their beloved. Mirabai found her Krishna. In her poems and songs, as you read them, as time passes, instead of saying, "Oh, where are you, my Krishna?" she started saying, "Where are you not, my Krishna? I see you in the sun that rises and in the light that fills the world. I see you in the beauty of flowers, in dewdrops, in the earth." She was able to see him absolutely everywhere. But the most epic part of Mirabai's story is she became Krishna. When we love so much that we ourselves disappear and only our beloved remains. Mirabai is loved so much that only her love remained. And her story remains as a constant reminder to all of us that we too can love so much that we can disappear, and love alone remains. Oh, that's it.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samastajana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. I was walking on the road one day and I hear my name being called. I turned around to see the call was for somebody else. Name catches your attention. Give me this. Can you pass me that? What? Name is important. Name connects the formless to the form, the unmanifest to the manifest, or vyakta to avyakta. In Upanishad, Naradji asked his father, Brahmaji, what is that one thing that can be the shelter in this age of Kali Yuga, in this age of Kali, the dark? And Brahmaji answers by saying, Namo Charana Matrena, name alone. Naradji again asked, what name? Whose name? How? Then Brahmaji replied, Narayana's name. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And there's no do's and don'ts in taking Lord's name. And this mantra became the Maha Mantra of Vaishnava tradition later. The The Vaishnava tradition of Assam was established by Srimant Shankar Dev, and his saying was, Ek Sharan Nama Dharma, one sole refuge, that is name alone, name alone. And to this tradition of Vaishnava, of Srimant Shankar Dev, was born Padmapriya in the era of Bhakti movement in 1570. Padmapriya's father, Gopal Dev, was disciple of Shankar Dev, and Gopal Dev established 2 satras. Now satras, these are the monasteries, the educational institute established in this tradition of Vaishnava for the seekers to come and formally educate themselves in the tradition of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. To add more to Srimant Shankar Dev's Vaishnava tradition, in the satras, they do Shravanam of the Lord, listening to his name and his glories, Kirtanam, singing his glories out loud, Archanam, offering to the Lord, and Vandanam, meditation to the Lord. When satras were established by Srimant Shankar Dev and his disciples, it gave the opportunities for the seekers to come and practice the sayings of Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. But Srimant Shankar Dev says, Nahi bhaktit jati ajatit bisar, Krishnor bhaktit hamsare adhikar. Everybody has right in bhakti of Krishna. There's no jati ajati, there's no social differences in bhakti towards Bhagavan, to Lord. Saying this, women at that society, at that time, did not have formal education of the scriptures. They didn't feel confident enough, free enough, expressing their devotion to Lord. They didn't feel enough privilege to get this knowledge, to grasp this knowledge, to be part of the society in the intellectual discussions about Lord and his glories. Padmapriya belonged to this era. She was daughter of the disciple of Srimant Shankar Dev, and Gopal Dev, Padmapriya's father, became her guru at that time. He was the one who introduced the scriptures to Padmapriya, the tradition of Vaishnava as Ek Sharan Nama Dharma. Education was given by her father, and the devotional aspect which kindled the love for Bhagavan, for Krishna, was by her mother, by Padmapriya's mother. And later on, she became the poetess, and her songs are mainly in the rhythm of Juna and Dulari. Padmapriya got the education that many women at that time did not get. There was a period when her guru, her father, passed away. Her guru had 2 satras, 2 monasteries he was in charge of. And when he passed away, Padmapriya was devastated. She had, as though the roof above her is gone. And she expresses by saying in one of her poems, "Death of a father oftened me, "O Lord, take me at your feet. Take me as my father is no more, my guru is no more." And anybody who has experienced this loss of guru and father would understand the feeling of Padmapriya. Padmapriya was given the chance to take over the satras that her father had established. She refused. She was devastated, but she was strong and bold at that time. She said, "I have to establish my own satra, which will welcome women, which will welcome open-heartedly the women who are abused in the society or who really wanted shelter, abandoned in the society, or even the women who truly want this knowledge." She gave them all shelter. She established the satra and formally educated and gave that power to the woman to understand the scripture and go deep into the glories of Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. This really created a remarkable change in the society. And this change is carried forward by all other women there. Till date, many festivals, many honors of recognition are under her name, Padmapriya. We name the prizes or buildings or recognize the fame of Padmapriya by empowering the woman with that name. Gurudev says, disciple is the one who surrenders to discipline. And second teaching of Padmapriya was the love, the devotion to Guru and Guru Parampara. In her early days, once this incident happened. Her father was going to visit his gurus, Shankardev's wife, Kalindi Ai. Padmapriya wanted to come along with her father. Her father gave her a challenge. When we go to Kalindi Ai's house, you have to bow down to her servant. And Padmapriya agreed to this condition. And true to her words, she arrived at Kalindi Ai's house and without any hesitation, with utmost humility, followed her father's condition and touched the feet of the servant in the house. Servants at that time were considered as very lowly people. Very wrong to say, but that was the social difference at the time. You don't touch them. You consider them to be different from you. A simple incident, but it carries a lot. Father taught a very big lesson to the daughter, is also a disciple. There's nothing called big, higher, or lower when there's devotion and the knowledge. There's nothing big and small. Everybody is same. Krishna is everywhere. And with the blessings of her father, Gopal Dev and Kalindi Ai, she really became a bold, strong woman in the society. In her writings also, we see this being reflected, her love for Guru and Guru Parampara. The devotion to the Guru. She says, "O Lord, you have no beginning and no end. Your fame you incarnate as Guru. I am unable to comprehend your glories. With body, mind, and soul, I surrender at your feet. Like the wave can't comprehend the depth of the ocean, I can't comprehend you and your glories. She indeed considered Guru and God as one. She saw it, she felt it, and we see her experience expressed in the poems. To sum it up, Padmapriya was a legacy at that time. She was a true legacy, true yogini who worked as a karma yogini in the field, following what her guru wants her to do, and within her, she was a jnana yogini. She says, Jobon jobon dui okaron, jono hoponor nidhi, misa dukkha lagi, brahma tyagi, nibhai lokiso siddhi. Visayato moyo hrudayo bandhan, maya moho papa jori. Padmapriya kahe abhipraya, Gopalor pave pori. I bow down to you, Gopal. I fall at your feet. One deprived from this Brahman, or this momentary misery, we are in this samsara, in this world of change. She was in jnana within, as her poems express, and in karma outside, establishing, empowering women in the society at that time. Ek Sharan Nam Dharma was the legacy she left from by using her Guru Parampara. She continued. Her works were later on recognized by many of her co-disciples and co-satradharis at that time. And later on in 20th century, we see her poems being used as a literary beauty, used as social services in Assam and the whole region around Assam. Just like fire, knowledge kindled in the heart and passed to others, multiplies and banishes all darkness. Padmapriya says, Santamala name grantha upahi, kahe Padmapriya dakhi ko dakhi. I am just a servant of the Lord. We pray for the blessings of Shri Guru and Lord to get more seekers like Padmapriya to guide us to the path of truth. Hari Om.